I'm Sherilyn Skolnicki, and this is Brilliant Balance, the show for working women who are ready to shine. Each week, I bring you ideas, inspiration, and insight on balance, business, and getting it all done gracefully. You ready? Let's be brilliant. This is episode 222 of the Brilliant Balance podcast. Build a wind down routine that works. So I have a question for you as we start today's episode. I wonder, do you ever have trouble falling asleep at night? You know, where you lie down in bed and your mind starts racing with all the things that didn't get done or all the things that could go wrong. You know, this is where those worries really spike often. Or maybe getting you to calm down requires a Netflix marathon or lots and lots of scrolling on social media accounts. Maybe you need to get up out of bed and have a snack or take a melatonin or get a glass of wine. This pattern, honestly, is so common. It's way too common, especially for women who are about my age. So we'll call it mid-40s, where bedtime just becomes a bit of a nightmare. And if for you, bedtime has become a source of anxiety or even a source of guilt, where all of those guilty pleasures are sort of landing in and around bedtime, I want you to consider with me today establishing what I call a wind down routine. So this is something I teach the elements of in our 30 Days to Vibrant Energy program. And you might be familiar with that. If you're not, you can go to the website, brilliant-balance.com, take a look, it's there. But everyone, when we get to this part, sort of smacks their forehead and says, why did I never think of this? Because we are really, really good at this with little kids. You know, if you think back to either when you were raising small children, or if you're doing that now, this is going to sound very familiar to you. And maybe you even remember it from your childhood. We are really good at bedtime routines with small children. You know, it's the bath. In my household, these are some of the things I remember with my kids when they were little. And they are now 11, 14, and 17 as I record this. So these days have gone by. But you know, it was that bath with the lavender Johnson's baby soap that just smelled so delicious. And the sippy cup and the blankie, you know, the favorite blankie with the tags on it. There was a bedtime story, and we had a couple of favorite books, including this awesome Mary Engelbreit Mother Goose collection that we just adored. And, you know, the prayers and the white noise machine and the special light that projects the stars on the ceiling, the tuckin ritual. Like, we are so good at bedtime with small children. But when it comes to us, not so much. You know, because what do? We do email, and we clean up the kitchen, and we drink wine, or we eat ice cream, and we watch Netflix or scroll on our phone. And honestly, maybe we fall asleep on the sofa or in one of our kids' beds, you know, when they've called us in for one more hug, one more snuggle, and then we just crash. And none of this adds up to much. We never really get to bring closure to our day or clear our minds. And we never signal to our bodies that, you know, hey, it's time to rest now. It's okay to sort of shut the systems down. And that absence of a practice really has a domino effect where we go to bed sort of agitated or numbed out, and then we have interrupted sleep often, or we wake up not yet rested and really foggy and groggy, you know, for the early part of the day, which can make us cranky or short-tempered later. And we're sort of in that vicious cycle around sleep. So if this resonates with you, I want to invite you today to engineer a bedtime ritual for yourself. And again, I call this a wind down routine. And a wind down routine is a series of steps that you can take to move yourself gently from your daytime rhythm into a state where you can sleep, where you feel ready for sleep. And I want to preface this, because it will come up, that none of this takes a long time. And none of it has to be done in blissful solitude. Because if you are a mom like I am, you don't have a lot of solitude. There's just not a lot of time for you to do this wind down routine in private. So my wind down routine is always done in tandem with my kids. And in fact, it sort of feeds their wind down routine. As they are now older children, the whole household is sort of bringing down the rhythm in the evening in preparation for sleep. So there's a few steps here. I'm going to talk through 7 or 8 today, actually, that, elements that could be included in your wind down routine. And you can pick and choose from this, whatever feels good to you. Think of these as thought starters that might give you some touchstones for building a practice of your own. And the point, again, for all of this is to calm yourself, sort of bring the energy of the house or of the day down so that you're in a state where sleep is the next logical step, right? Where it happens naturally. So let's talk about the elements that can be built into this routine. And let's not be precious about it, right? Let's just try some stuff and see if we can get ourselves into a calmer state in the evening. So the first thing I'm going to start with is finish your work and be done with it. I want you to know when you are done for the day and give yourself permission to truly be done for the day. That practice gives you a sense of closure. It says, okay, this element of my day, this heavy mental lifting, problem solving, creative output heavy part of my day is over. And I can now start to release and let go of the problems that I've solved and the things I've gotten done and the conversations that I've had. I can move those into memories and I can start to clear my cache, kind of, right? Just get everything out of my mind so that I can move into a new gear for the rest of the evening. And the reason I'm emphasizing that is it's so difficult to find this restful state that we're seeking if we keep getting pinged with new emails, new alerts, new notifications on our devices. So this correlates a bit with putting away the devices and or turning off the notifications for work-related content. So you're going to find your own level of reasonableness. When can you do that? How many hours can you be off the grid, before you pick it all back up again the next day? The longer you can do that in the evening, the more of a break that you can give yourself, the better you're going to feel. But you're going to find your own line for where can you say, I've thought about these kind of problems enough for the day. I will look at them again tomorrow morning and pick up whatever has come in. But for now, I'm going to change gears. Okay. So that's the first thing I want you thinking about, and you'll sort of figure out sequentially where that happens for you. Second thing to think about, totally different gear, is lighting. So lighting, if you think about how much artificial light is in our lives today, it is a lot, right? So much of our world is kind of lit up with artificial lighting. And using a time in the evening where you start to turn off some of the lights and or dim the lighting in your environment really starts to cue your body that nighttime is approaching. So when it is dark outside and we are in this artificially very bright environment, our brains get really confused about, is it day or is it night? And if you can start to change the lighting in the house, much like sunset, starts to dim the lighting outside, your brain will start to get the memo. So in our house, we have a lot of lights on dimmer switches. They're kind of all wired into dimmers. And that is very powerful because I can turn off some lights and move to like lamps in certain rooms. And I can also dim the lighting in some of the rooms that we're in at that time of day. Unbelievable how simple and subtle that one move is in starting to cue your brain that, hey, evening is approaching. It is almost time for sleep, okay? Next thing to think about is the sound that's coming into your ears. So many, many, many households have the TV on all the time, okay? Background noise of the TV is another cue of like, oh, there is a world going on over there. And our brain doesn't know the difference between a TV show and our own lives. So that background noise can be grating. it can be agitating without us even realizing it. And so I want you to run this experiment of turning off the TV in, the main rooms of the house, or any noise, like the kind of music that's playing, anything that's causing you to feel a little amped up. See what happens if you change the type of sound to maybe jazz music or classical music or spa music or anything that's soothing to you, acoustic guitar, right? Anything that just lightens the mood in the room. And I really know how difficult this TV challenge is, because we hear it all the time in 30 Days to Vibrant Energy. Typically there's someone in the household who really wants that TV on, and it's not usually you. So you don't want to get into a big fight over this, but if you can encourage an experiment of just keeping the TV off when someone's not actively watching it, that really can make a big difference on sort of the demeanor in the household, okay? Pick your battles. That one may or may not work for you. It is a really lovely tone changer in our house when we're able to do it. Do you ever find yourself saying, I just need a minute to breathe? While the whole idea of meditation can sound totally intimidating, I've found that stepping away from the chaos of life, even just for a few minutes, is incredibly restorative. So if you're short on time, but could use a few moments of peace right about now, listen to my 5-minute meditation for working moms. It'll help you clear your head and come back to your day feeling centered and refreshed. Head over to brilliant-balance.com/breathe. Press play and settle in for a few mini moments of peace right now. The next thing to think about is what's on your body, clothing, right? What are you wearing? If you are at work in something that is less than comfortable, right? Tight waistband, constricting pants or a skirt, shoes that are pinchy, anything that's less, even like a sweater that has a scratchier fabric, changing into things that are really soft and comfortable on your body is another cue that we are preparing to breathe and rest and calm down, okay? So depending on what, the structure of your evening is, you're going to have a different window of when you can do this. But really be mindful of the fabrics you're putting against your skin and how they feel in that wind down routine time, because it can make such a difference in how your body gets the cue that you are in fact preparing for rest. Okay. The next thing to think about is sort of a bath time, shower time, skincare routine. So anything that you can do that uses scent and temperature as signals to your body to relax, you want to be building into this routine. It is a ritualistic cue to say, okay, I'm going to take, even if you took a shower that morning, I'm going to take another shower, or I'm going to take a bath, or I am going to at least put my hair up and wash my face and use some kind of simple skincare routine as a signal that we are preparing for rest. We are taking off all of the day, and we are getting into a place where, again, soft and comfortable clothing, skin is, for me, this is where my contacts come out and my glasses go on, my hair goes up into a knot on top of my head. It's like, right? Everything about that time of day says I can breathe. And those signals are very, very important. So scent, I mentioned earlier, remembering the lavender scented, bath product for little kids. Like, what are you using in your bathroom that has a scent that tells you, oh, I only use this at bedtime. This is a cue that it is time for me to be able to rest. And then the next thing to think about is making time for things that relax you. So when we're putting work away and we've, maybe gotten the kitchen tidied up and we're working with the kids on getting lunches made and backpacks set aside for the next day, we want to carve out a window of time for something that relaxes you. And we want to ideally avoid blue light, right? So the light that's emitted from your phone or your laptop is blue light. And that's something we want to avoid in that last window of the day before sleep. We want to avoid things that are scary or heavy or intense, right? So this is not the time for the most intense TV show that you love or a scary movie. You want to look for things that are lightly entertaining or enjoyable. So a great time to read. Maybe something as simple as a magazine, maybe something, I am in love with my Kindle. So that's typically I have stuff queued up on my Kindle. Maybe you like to draw, and this is a time of day when you can sit down and draw. Maybe you want to have a conversation and pour a cup of tea, but this is that time for things that relax you. You don't want to intentionally be walking into situations that are stressful. Maybe you read to your children, during this time, and snuggling with them and tucking them in is part of your wind down routine. And just imagine, if you're not already doing this, how different that will feel when you're also in your comfortable clothes and your makeup's off and you've done some skincare and you've got a great scented lotion, right? All of a sudden, that snuggle time with them is delightful because you're ready for sleep. It's not an interruption to your evening. It's like, oh, now this is like, right, I'm halfway ready for sleep as well. Relaxing things. I'm going to hear from some of you, I know in comments, but that's my time. That's my first time of the whole day to do anything that's for me. So I want to watch a TV show or I want to be on my phone. You can be. Just understand choosing the content carefully. Things that are not agitating is kind of the key element here. Okay, and then only a couple more things to consider. One is, for many, many women that I've coached, they finally, if you get through some of these steps and you get into your own bed and the temperature is comfortable and it's a dark room, right? All those good things around sleep hygiene, all of a sudden your brain starts to dislodge thoughts, to-do list items, worries, like start just kind of popping out like popcorn once you put yourself in that bed and you tell yourself, I'm ready for sleep. Like, why now? Why is this the time that all these thoughts are surfacing? So this is where you want that chance to really clear your cache. Anything that is still stuck in your mind and rattling around in there and causing you stress, you want to have actual notebook, like not a digital device, but something analog that is on your nightstand where you can jot those things down. And those things for me come out in a couple of ways. They may be worries that I want to release in the form of like prayer or a meditation. And, just saying, I release this. I'm not going to keep this in my mind. I'm just releasing this to solve itself. It can be powerful. And then they also are things I don't want to forget. For me, those are the thoughts that will surface. So just having a place where I can safely jot it down, and then I know with confidence, okay, I'm going to wake up in the morning and it's going to be there. I'm not worried about forgetting it. Just having that place to write things down can be peaceful, can really help you feel more peaceful at bedtime. So it's very common to have those thoughts kind of popping like popcorn at bedtime, but you want to have a place to put them so you can let them go for the night and be able to sleep. And if that's not enough, if you're not kind of ready for sleep with that ritual, the very last thing that you can do that very likely will put you to sleep is some sort of quiet meditation as simple as a body scan. And when I say body scan, this is the classic meditation where you sort of go from top of your head to the tips of your toes, acknowledging and relaxing each body part sequentially. You can picture it like light that's sort of filling your body from the top to the bottom very slowly. You can picture it like paint, starting at the top of your head and sort of slowly working its way through the inside of your body and filling it. Whatever visual metaphor is helpful to you, but that sequential referencing of each body part from your head to your toes can be a very calming final step to put you to sleep. And the key to all of this, of course, because we've just covered, 8 separate things that you can think about, is not to turn this into one more massive weight on your shoulders, one more thing to do. It's to use these elements to very subtly signal to your mind that it is okay to start to come down, to bring the energy down. Energy throughout the day should have an arc. It should rise early and kind of rapidly in the morning as you approach full wakefulness, and then sustain itself and sort of peak in midday, and then it will wane as you move toward evening and bedtime. So you want to ride that wave and get yourself into a state where sleep is the next logical step, where it happens naturally. It's just not reasonable to go from 100 miles an hour, you're cranking through emails and cleaning the kitchen and doing all the things, to boom, now I'm asleep. This idea of an off-ramp in the form of a wind down routine can really help you make sleep a more natural next step. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. If this kind of whets your appetite and you want to talk more about how to manage this and other practices, that kind of hardwire these wellness habits into your life, go check out 30 Days to Vibrant Energy. That one's at the website, brilliant-balance.com/energy. That'll take you right to the page where we talk about it. And that's a great starting program inside of the Brilliant Balance ecosystem. Or go put this into practice and let me know how it's going for you. I would love to hear from you in comments on this podcast. I'd love to hear from you in our Facebook group, which is at Brilliant Balance inside the Facebook world. Just go to groups, search Brilliant Balance, or follow along on Instagram. I think we're brilliant_balance there, and comment along from there in any of those places. That is all for today, my friends. Till next time, let's be brilliant.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.